Mr. Dylan LeBlanc, hello and thank you that we can do this interview. I also called it during our roots time. It's
Yeah.
welcome in Belgium.
Thank you.
Is this your first gig in our small, humble country?
It is in the Pier area, yes. I'm sorry, in the Ribs and Blues area.
But the Ribs and Blues, that's Holland, I think.
En dat is Nederlands.
No,
Yes.
Blues and Hoof. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Let's start that over. I'm sorry.
No problem, because when you know a little bit about Europe, Belgium and Holland, we speak the same language, so
Right, yeah.
they call us the lowlands,
Yeah.
because it's flat.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Except in the south of Belgium, you can have small mountains, but there they speak French, so that's our problem. We have a part French, a part Dutch, a part a very difficult country.
Okay.
So not only the beer, the waffles, but we have also music in Belgium.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Did you use some names of our country?
So of some artists in this country, or just some names of the cities, or? No, not
No,
really.
we
Not
have
very
two
familiar.
famous ones.
Okay.
We have Toots Tielemans. He was
Yeah.
one of the
I know
famous.
who Toots Tielemans?
Yes, he was from Brussels, from Belgium.
Oh, I didn't realize he was from.
He lived a long time, but he has also died in Belgium. But he was from Belgium.
Okay.
He was one of the famous harpists, the mondharmonica players. And then a second thing that we also have in Belgium was the inventor of the saxophone.
Really?
That he was from Belgium. That was Adolf Sax. He was living in the south of Belgium, but was also Belgium.
Wow. Okay.
You are born in Louisiana.
I was.
Was in Shreveport, I think.
I was.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
Your father?
Yeah. My father
He was a country singer.
Yes. Yeah.
Was it because of him, of the family, the situation that you became a musician, or were there other things that helped you to become one, or that maybe a voice inside your head that said, I want to become a musician?
You know, I think the first thing that made me want to become a musician was I wanted to leave my hometown really bad, and I wanted to be on my own. And you know, I had my father, like you said, yes, he was a country and songwriter, and he worked on Music Row in Nashville, and he lived in Muscle Shoals.
Yeah.
So he would go.
There you got your musical education. And,
Yeah. So they say, and that's some of it's very true. But yeah, you know, I didn't see him much until I was older, and then I left Shreveport, my hometown where I was born, and we went to Muscle Shoals. I did, to be with my father, and that's when I started really getting serious about becoming a good songwriter, and I started realizing that songwriting was the key to being
to be
sort of an importance of music. That the key part of music was, if you could become a good writer, first and foremost, that you kind of had the key to the kingdom, and you could do more with that tool than you could just being a great guitar player or a great singer even. That if you had the talent for writing, and then that became my primary focus, was just trying to be a good writer.
songwriter.
And you know, country music, if you look at the history,
Yeah.
it's very direct. They write about very singular, focused things, and you can tell what it is they're singing about. It's like folk music. It's the same thing. They sing about the era, the conditions they were living in, and the pain they were going through, and the era that they were living in. So country was very much that. It was very direct, and to start a song and have a clear picture and clear meaning of what you were wanted to sing about, and then the capability of putting that down on a piece of paper, and the art of that, and it's very much an art form.
So what you did today on stage, is for you your thing as a songwriter, because what I heard today were two things: a man singing, and a band playing heavy. the song, carrying the song to a level, but was that the songwriter today, or was it more the songwriter and the band?
I think it was the entertainer.
The entertainer.
Yeah. Because those two things are different. You know, when I write songs for records and I make songs for, but when you're playing a show, you have to sort of separate the songwriter, the sort of quiet, introverted part of yourself, and then you have to sort of bring out the entertainer, and you have to realize that people don't want to sit there and be bored.
No.
They want to see a show, and so
we were afraid that you were here in Peer as a songwriter, but what you did today, I wasn't impressed me.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
So,
yeah. I mean, that's.
I saw the people going with you with the song. It was very good.
That's good. That's good. That makes me feel good. That's the goal, is to get.
And when you say, okay, the Belgian people are not so, how shall I say it, so explosive, or we try to listen to respect the man on stage, and you give him the chance to do his thing.
Yeah,
it was good.
Yeah, thank you.
You are a songwriter, but you're also a very good guitarist.
Thank you.
Was the guitar the only instrument, or the first instrument? Of why did you choose for the guitar, not for a harmonica or?
You know, my great grandfather played the guitar, and then my grandfather played, and then my father played, and so it was the only instrument. So I grew up with my mother, right, and she was a maid, and we were very poor, and when we didn't have a guitar around the house, but when I would go stay with my father's family, sometimes on the weekends, there was always a guitar around the house.
Or he was playing, or you were maybe together playing, and.
No, he wasn't around much. He was always gigging or doing work, or he was always trying to become a successful musician himself. Yeah. So I would pick up the guitar and listen. He did, however, teach me 3 chords. He taught me A, D, and E, and then when I learned that, the first song I ever learned was Wild Thing by the Animals. He taught me Wild Thing, and I learned that, and I sang it over and over again. Then I learned Peter Gunn. Remember that song? Yeah, so I learned that. And then I kind of took off from there, and then I started putting albums on. And my grandfather, after he died, I didn't know him that well, but he had left behind all these books of guitar charts and songs of Bob Dylan and Paul McCartney, the Beatles, John Lennon. And my grandmother would make him learn certain songs while she would cook in the kitchen. She wanted him to play for her, so she would buy him songbooks. So all those books were there after he died for me to sort of look through and learn. And so I learned a lot from those songbooks. A lot of Bob Dylan, Mr. Tambourine Man, and you know, Times They Are Changing. Yeah. And then of course he had a record collection that they had. They were a part of a record club back then. You could sign up. It's called the Penny Record Club. You paid $0.01 a month, which is equivalent to like 1 pence of a euro, or whatever the equivalent is in European money. And you would get a box of records each month. So they had like incredible albums, like Harvest by Neil Young, and great Neil Young records. So that's how I sort of got my start.
When somebody asks you which genre of music, genre of music that you play, what is your answer? Are you a rock singer? Are you a roots singer, or don't you want to be put in a small box now?
I just always say I'm a soul singer, because everything I feel like I sing does come from right here. You know, there's only so much that this thing can take you, and then I feel like musically people connect more to something that comes from here. And I can always tell the difference. I love great songwriting, but there's something to be said for people who are just so good with words that this gets too involved and you lose this. And so, like, that's why black music in history is so amazing, and so great, like Sam Cooke. And you know, he was a soul singer. I mean, it didn't matter what he sang.
Yeah.
It could have been the alphabet, and it would have, I'd have been like,
singing
goddamn.
his heart, yeah.
I don't know why, but I felt that. So there's something that transcends words, and that's what I kind of try to do, because words only take you so far, and then there's another language in music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Daniel Goodman, he was also important in your beginning period of your career.
Oh, Daniel Goodwill.
Yeah,
Goodwill.
Goodwill. Sorry,
Yeah, it's okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, he was.
I found his name when I was googling your name. I was trying to collect some information about it.
We went to school together, and you know, I didn't even have a guitar of my own, and Daniel had a nice place, and he had a rehearsal space for like anyone who wanted to come. He had a drum set, tons of guitars, lots of acoustics and electrics, and his father, Bill was his name, was a really nice guy, and Bill would just let us set up and play as long as we wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a lot of my chops just from setting up in his living room and playing. And we would, of course, we were teenagers, so we would smoke a lot of weed and drink beer and listen to great records and just play and talk about music.
One of your not a difficult period in your life, but a special period in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a lot of special periods in my life.
Let's forget it.
Yeah, no worries.
You're a songwriter, like you said, but is it a difficult job to write songs, or to write things down and to put them in the right words to have a good song?
I think anybody could do it.
Sure?
I really believe that. I don't think it's difficult at all. People who feel and think, we're not that unique as a race. We're not that far apart in our thinking and our feeling, no matter where you're from. It doesn't matter if you're from American, Belgian, if you're Dutch, if you're anywhere, Middle Eastern, it doesn't matter. People feel and think pretty much the same way. We're all interconnected in our thoughts and our feelings and emotions, and if people write, and it's of course it's an art form, and yes, you can get better at it. It's a practice, but it's not hard. It's not difficult.
I think somewhere you're right when you say everybody can write and put things down in words, but writing a good song, I think that's difficult.
It's certainly an art form. I mean, like
because it
it
may be a good song for you, but for the public it must be also a good song. They must understand what you try to put in words and try to tell them.
Yeah, I mean, a good song to me is, I can name off 3. Speed of the Sound of Loneliness. It's like a great song by John Prine, perfectly crafted. And then if we're going to talk about modern songwriters, I think, and someone who I know personally and who's incredible, probably the best as far as crafting a song goes, songwriter now of our generation is Jason Isbell. He's better than everybody. He is. I'm sorry. You could argue, I'll argue that point till the day I die. The man could sit down and turn a phrase better than anyone I've ever met, and he acts like he just ate a bowl of cereal. It's like what? I don't even get it. But he's smart. He's great. And then then you have songs like the Bee Gees. They were great writers. A lot of people are like, the Bee Gees, they're this or that, or I didn't like them. But you can't take away the fact that those guys were songwriters first. And when you watch that documentary, which I just did, which is why I bring them up, it's really clear to me that they just love the music, and that's what they were before anything. They were songwriters. Yeah. When you think about How Can You Mend a Broken Heart, that's a great song. Lyrically, it's a really great song. Woody Guthrie, Townes Van Zandt. There's so many in history. It's not rocket science. It's just people who sit down and they learn the craft, and it's a practice like doctors practice medicine or lawyers practice law. You never get completely as far as you want to go with it, but you get better as you keep doing it. And the key is to keep doing it and writing as much as possible. Don't stop.
Yeah. I bought it today, your last album. it got the name Pastimes. It's it's an EP. It's the fifth album, I think, that you released.
It's just an EP.
Yeah, an EP, but
what's my fifth release?
do you think there is a lot of difference between your first one that was in 2010, the Pauper's Field, and the last one? Do you think there's an evolution or things that?
I think my voice evolved a lot as far as a singer. I think you can hear a clear distinction between my first record. I wasn't a very polished singer at that time, and obviously I was not sober much of that time either, so you can hear that on my first two records. And then I became better as I played more shows, especially after Cautionary Tale. And then my friend, this guy named John Paul White, who was in a band called The Civil Wars, really sort of kind of helped me articulate how to pronounce words, because I could talk fine, but when I would sing, I don't know if it was because I was drinking too much or what, but my words would always be so muffled that people couldn't understand what I was saying. And I'd get a lot of people coming up to me and be like, we can't understand, beautiful song, can't understand a fucking word you just said. So that would be like a response that I would get all the time. And so when I made Cautionary with John, he was like, we're going to really work on
pronunciation.
Diction.
Diction, that's the right word, yeah. Plans for the near future, working on new things, plans in your head that you say I want to do, because I'm sure that everybody has what they call the bucket list, so things that they once want to do. Still open items on your list, or your things open want to do list?
I still want to do so many things. I just, every time I make a record, I always dream and hope for like one more step up the ladder. Just more people at shows. It's been a slow career for me. I've been doing this for 15 years, and it's just been one fan at a time all these years. And I've sort of built a cult following, which I'm grateful for. But I'd like to see it grow, because I think what I'm doing, of course everyone thinks what they're doing is okay, but I think what I'm doing is good enough to see a wider audience, and I'd like to see it reach a wider audience. And I'm going to keep working and busting my ass until I do reach that wider audience. Okay,
I have some questions to finish. What are you doing besides music? Do you also have hobbies or things that you do in your free time? Or maybe you don't have free time, I don't know.
No, not really. I spend time with my daughter. I just had a baby girl. Me and my girlfriend. So she's 11 months old, and so I'm just, when I'm not touring.
Now you're a busy man.
Yeah, I'm home with the baby, and I give her some free time because she deserves it. She's an incredible woman and spends most of the time with our kid, and so I try to relieve her of that stress.
It's normal.
Yeah, and so
being a daddy, then you need your time. Yeah.
Everybody does. Everybody needs a little bit of time to themselves.
Yeah. What was the best advice that someone gave you?
Like I was saying earlier, the best advice I ever got was to persevere, and maybe you be the last man standing is usually the man who gets what he wants, because he never quit. Yeah. And I think that's so cliche, but it's so true too.
It's
cliche. Look at Jack Nicholson; he's the perfect example. I mean, he was 40 before he ever got great roles in film and TV, and then he became one of the most legendary actors of all time.
Yeah.
I mean, he's incredible. But he was not young when he started having success.
I don't think that you have to tell him how to do it.
Right? No.
He is himself.
Yeah, he is. And he's hilarious, and he's a character, and you hire him to do him. You don't hire him to be an actor, you hire him to be Jack Nicholson. Yeah, so.
Okay, Dylan, I have a last question. Did music made you a better man? Another man?
No, I think it was always, when I was a child, I used to listen to the radio, and I knew that it was just what I wanted to do. I knew from when I was a child I wanted to be a musician, and I wanted to be involved in music. Even if that meant just selling instruments in a guitar store, I just wanted to be someone that was involved in the industry in some way or form, because I loved it. But as far as who I am, I think it was already in my DNA when I arrived on the planet. I know that sounds ridiculous, and it even sounds ridiculous coming out of my mouth, but it felt like I was born to do it, you know. And so I don't know if it made me someone I wasn't. I felt like it just completed who I thought I already was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Dylan, that were my questions. Thank you again for your time. And I'm sure that you have impressed today here in Peer a lot of people. I'm sure about that.
I had a great time.
You did great. Thank you a lot.
It was a lot of fun.
Thank you a lot, man.
Thank you. Thank you, brother.